affect our private sector. The unintended consequences for which this bill threw out is going to make the business owners out there make decisions and how that some of those decisions could be detrimental to our job force. And the fact that I brought up an idea that I believe there could be discrimination of people just getting their applications put to the side because a business owner is weighing the liabilities of the employees that they're interviewing with.
Wouldn't some people at home say that's already happening?
Sure, I don't doubt it's already happening, but what I'm saying is we're talking about it being getting worse, going in the wrong direction. I can't sit there and say what's on a business owner's mind. When he interviews somebody, he's looking for the best candidate, and he's trying to also reduce his, every decision that's made in business has a liability component. Every decision, from getting up to the morning, how you get to work, to going home. Okay, so I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm trying to state what sometimes people won't put on the record. It's kind of like, some of those ideas that I can say for having been in business, still in almost to celebrate next month 26 years, that I can look at this bill and having hired people, all the people within this category and others, not needing a bill to tell me who to hire and not to hire, but you sit there and you weigh 100 different attributes of somebody. Now, if I have a situation with, let's say, two candidates being equal, how do you make a judgment there? I'm just saying ponder those ideas, because certainly there's a lot of things being tossed at us about losing jobs. And what I also added was that I think the possibility strongly exists that the private sector, people who decide to say, hey, I'm not from Jacksonville, but that looks like a friendly city. It looks like it doesn't have a lot of regulations, doesn't have government in my life to be able to start a company. Here's one more. Here's a negative, because here comes government intruding to those people's lives of how to run their business.
Your thoughts with this? You were the lone voter against this today. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's just too convoluted and everyone's combing through each little word and this and that, and this category over that category? Do you think the public truly understands this at all, or what it's actually doing? Is it even needed? Let me ask that.
I think this bill, for a lot of people, and actually I don't have to think this, it was stated in committee today, is a feel-good bill. I asked the question at the very beginning, tell me how this bill is going to cause less discrimination. I have constantly gotten no answer to that, except this is the right thing to do, that it'll make people feel better. So I keep asking the question, and I've yet to get a specific answer to tell me how this will cause less discrimination. So my only thought beyond that is it's something that's going to make everybody wake up tomorrow, the day after it passes, and feel like something's changed. Nothing's going to change. Unless you have some person who goes out there and actually states why they're discriminating, it'll go back to the city as a very subjective matter before the Human Rights Commission, which, as I stated, the penalty could be $500 or, according to our code, imprisonment.
Which you feel is way out of bounds to say who's going to put who in jail.
I think even our general counsel feels like that's certainly an overreach of civil disobedience. Okay.
Last question here.
Okay.
The two-tier system about, let's say, sexual orientation, them having, it was like 15 or below for a small business. And
No, it's actually 14 and below.
14
See that?
and below.
No, let me point that out.
Uh-huh.
I think, once again, this particular bill started out being a simpler, easier, we put exemptions into the bill. All of that has been shown to be not true one bit. Number one, the 40 pages that got omitted have been condensed down to section 2 into a bunch of numbers. It's actually less transparent. It took me many more hours to figure out, you know, how this bill even is put together. And then the exemptions. Those exemptions are no different than what we had last year. And they're being sold as 15, people keep saying 15 like that's some magic number. It's actually 14 and less, okay? And my argument is somebody tell me what a 15 employee business has that a 14 doesn't, okay? Because, I've been at a 15 and I've been at a 14. It didn't feel any different to me. I still had the same liabilities when I woke up in the morning and the same employees to be concerned about, of us meeting the mission and are we doing what we need to do in order to grow the business so they can have jobs. When I wake up in the morning, for 25 years, my employees are my family. Okay. We all work together. We have a mission to, that hopefully at the end of the day gives us a quality of life that we all can go home and pay mortgages, make car payments, and so forth. The private sector, asking nothing of the government and asking nothing of shareholders, private sector who owns their companies, they go out there and mortgage their homes. They go out there and run their credit cards up to meet payroll. And here they are being put in a position where they got to figure out what expression means, what perceived means. And these are the standards for which they're going to be held to when they get brought, frivolous or not, a case before this bill, which, as our general counsel also noted, we can't put this particular LGB on a resume. So how do I know this uniformity that was also in there? How do I know they've been uniform in being LGBT? When I have a dress code in my handbook. Okay, I have expectations when my employees go to see customers, and those customers have an expectation. Sometimes I don't choose how my customers think, and as I presented an example where I might have a salesperson, okay, one and only salesperson, not uncommon in a private sector business. Well, if that salesperson's sales go down because they've decided to change their lifestyle and let's say in the instance of a transsexual, okay, and they're going out to customers and they're making them feel, I can't help whether they feel uncomfortable or not. I cannot control their actions. But if they decide not to do business with a company and this person's sales decline, how does Human Rights Commission distinguish between me firing, some private sector person firing them because their sales went down versus firing them because they decided to be a transsexual? How do you make that distinguish? How does a business owner, who has to have those sales every day to meet payroll of his other 13 employees or 14 employees if he's 15, how does he make that distinction? There was no answer given to this because there are no answers. It's all subjective. You're going to depend on a group of people who probably have never run a business, probably never even hired anybody, who possibly will be sitting in judgment to you. And what happens in our society with this bill in many areas is you're made to be an example, okay? And there's just like there's groups who support different areas of discrimination, I guess. They have, budgets full of dollars that sometimes they just want to make an example out of somebody. So, that's pretty scary. When I wake up tomorrow morning, or if this passes on the 14th, on the 15th, it'll be, certainly, will it weigh into the private sector's mind every day when they wake up in terms of having one more regulation over their shoulder, over their head, because it looks like the federal government is talking about getting rid of 75% of regulations in this country. The state has said, yes, we've got regulations killing business in our country. We're trying to create jobs. And something like this is a job killer. It's not a job, adder. And that is where there is a huge difference of opinion, but it's all based on you want to feel good about this. You know how I can feel good about this? By hiring, every class out there, creating jobs for this, for my community and for my city. And you know what? And giving everyone the opportunity to have those jobs. All right.
Thank you, Councilman.